Just a brief instructional before my homily. I still have a little bit of a cough. It's not COVID. I had 2 negative COVID tests, but for that reason, Father Pistoni and Deacon Brian will be in charge of distributing communion, and I'll only be touching my own chalice. When I was in seminary, my very first year, I was in seminary with another seminarian who, well, let's just say he was rather eccentric. This is a fellow who really enjoyed bossing other people around. He really liked telling people what to do. And it really backfired on him because the seminary, it's an all-men's organization. It's very hierarchical. And a first-year seminarian is not going to tell upperclassmen what to do. And they would let him know that. So he didn't get too far with bossing people around. But one day, sometimes we would have these cleanup days where everyone would be assigned a different task. Someone would be vacuuming the floors, another person washing the windows, that sort of thing. And he knew that he wasn't getting far bossing people around, but he came up with a really interesting idea to make him still think he had some power or something like that. He would walk around on the cleaning day, and he would tell people, he would order people to do what they were already doing. And it got you in this weird conundrum. I was one of the window washers, and he came to us, and he was like, okay, you guys are washing the windows. All right, good job. Make sure you get up there. You know, it's pretty dirty up there. Then once you're done those, go over there into the next room and keep doing those. And I remember thinking, what do I say? Like, I'm going to do it, but that's just because it's my job. I was flabbergasted. I didn't know what to say. And then I heard him go to someone else in the next room, and then I heard them arguing over there, and I guess they were a little more, giving him a little more pushback. But it was just interesting to see. It was like, don't tell me what to do. You're not in charge of me. You're not my boss. What are you doing? Don't tell me what to do. And we often have that kind of knee-jerk reaction when it comes to someone's claim on authority. And then today's feast day, the feast day of Christ the King, we are recognizing his authority over heaven and earth and his authority over us. This is the legitimate authority because, of course, it is founded in the fact that he is the one who has created us and ordered our very being. I once had a conversation in college with a friend of mine who was a very thoughtful fellow. And some other friends and myself, we were getting ready for a pro-life demonstration on campus. And we were talking with him about pro-life matters, and especially about the sanctity of life in the womb. And at the end of it, he says, look, I get what you're saying. You're telling me that abortion is murder. I get it. But you have to understand that, and he said to me, my girlfriend is a vegan, and she tells me all the time that eating meat is also murder, and wearing leather is also murder. And I have a friend who is a global warming activist. Back then they used to call it global warming. And he tells me that if I drive a car with gasoline, it's literally committing genocide, because in 20 years, my car is going to be responsible for a flood out in Indonesia. Some tribe is going to get flooded, and I'm literally committing genocide every time I start my car. So you have to understand that you're telling me this is murder. Everyone else is telling me that their thing is murder. If I were to listen to every voice that's out there, I would be a literal madman trying to do everything, and I would be afraid to leave my room. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to not listen to anybody. I'm just going to live my life, and that's just how I'm going to live. Just doing my own thing, forgetting about everyone else. And I felt for him because, first off, he was a very thoughtful person. I mean, he really was listening, and he was a very intelligent person. And I could just sense the frustration in his voice. And we live in a world that, we live in the information age, and there's so many activist things and so many movements and things demanding our attention. And I can certainly understand his conclusion. You know what? I'm going to forget about all of it and just do whatever I want. How do we respond in this environment? On the one hand, we have do whatever I want, which of course leads to its own problems. It leads to a selfish kind of attitude, a selfish kind of worldview. But then, once we start opening up, but then what voices do we listen to? I think that's why this feast day of Christ the King is so important. Recognizing and submitting to the authority of Jesus Christ, our King, gives us an anchor in life so that we're not pushed about this way and that by all of the various things that go on in the world. Having our Lord as our King gives us a rock to stand firm upon. Submitting to his authority gives us a sure and certain hope of everlasting happiness. It's only found in him. But I know that those words are difficult. We submit to his authority. Wow, that's very countercultural, isn't it? We submit to the authority of Christ our King in everything. We can't do what we often do, which is just, I'll maybe decide to pick some things and not other things, and some things about our Lord I like and other things I don't like, and some commandments I like, other commandments I don't like. I'll just pick and choose. But the kingship of Christ means that we must accept the totality of his authority over our life. That can be hard to do, but it is worth it. We don't have to be afraid in doing this, because if we recognize and realize that it was he who created us and he who loves us so much that he wants us to be happy, he wants our well-being to endure, then we should have no reservation submitting to the authority of Christ the King. Well, brothers and sisters, this is the end of our year. Next Sunday, we're going to begin our new year with Advent. At the end of this year, let us make it our dedication, our consecration, to follow our Lord Jesus Christ unreservedly, submitting to his authority in all things.